Alright, who's up for a little casino action? So what I have here is a piece of MATLAB code that it looks, it generates random shuffles of cards. It deals 5 cards, and it checks to see if there's 3 of a kind, but no full house, right? So that's what I want to check for. And it's actually not that complicated, but let's take a look here and see what it does, okay? So I have it kind of broken up into sections here in cells. And so I'm going to run to line 19 here. Okay, and so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a deck of cards, and I'm going to shuffle them one time just to kind of see how this works. Okay. Um, but I want to do the probability of 3 of a kind is I don't know. I got it down here at the bottom somewhere. It's well, it's this number right here, whatever this is. I looked this one up on Wikipedia. Okay, so it's so there's a 2% chance that you're going to get a 3 of a kind. Now this is on just 5 random cards. So this is like 3 of a kind, 5 card draw, and you get it on the deal. And so out of 1,000, I should have about 21 on average. But that's a probabilistic thing. So sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less. So if I try to do this with 100, I might not get. I get like 2, right? So that might not be enough. But I give 1,000. You can also do a lot more if you want. But this program's not really all that efficient, and so it might take a little too long for you to do. But 1,000 is a good number to start with. So first of all, I want to figure out what the denominations are. And if you call an ace a 1, right? And then you have ace through a 10, and then you have a jack, king, and a queen. So there are actually 13 numerical values in each suit, and there are, of course, 13 cards in a suit. So I'm gonna make up this deck of cards, and so the first column is going to be the denomination, which is just 1 through 13, 1 through 13, 1 through 13, 1 through 13, and the suit is just ones, but I'm going to number the suits 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I take a column of ones, the same size, 13 by 1, as the denominations, then I can generate the suits by suit time 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, and I'm going to call that deck 0. And so here you can see deck 0. And you can see that it's 1 through 13, 1 through 13. Let me open this up in... yeah, okay, so 1 through 13, 1 through 13, and then here's all of the... so, I don't know, this should be spades, clubs, hearts, diamonds. It doesn't really matter which one's which, right? It's just a symbolic thing. So that's the way that works. So now I have this deck. And so I'm going to make another kind of deck that's going to be our deck 1, which let me open that one up. So this just has the denomination in the tens column, and then the suit in the ones column. So you can see that's a ace of spades, that's a 2 of spades, so on. And then that's the king of spades, and then here's the ace of clubs. And then I'm going to make this other kind of a deck here. Okay, and so I just have all this information in one place. So here's the deck combined with the denomination and the suit. Here's the denomination, and here's the suit. And then this column, if you look right here, it's just a set of random numbers. Now you might wonder why I would want to do a column of random numbers. Well, let's see. So let me do a so this is a deck, right? So let's do deck 1 is equal to sort rows of deck, and I want to use column 1 to sort them by. Of course, and I misspelled that, so that's deck There we go. Now let's look at deck 1. Okay. So now you see, if I plot this row right here, which I can do somehow, you see it's a little wiggly line, but it's always increasing, right? So all I did was sort of a list of random numbers, and so this list of random numbers is no longer random. However, everything else is. So here you can see that it's a 6 of spades, or it's a 6 of clubs, a 3 of hearts, and so on. So by sorting this column of random numbers, I've shuffled the deck. So that's how you shuffle a deck of cards. You just simply add a column of random numbers, and then you sort the rows based on that to organize that column of random numbers into an array of ascending numbers. So you can try that. Now, we've talked about this before, but this is a basic programming structure if you want to count something. And the way you do it is you start to count off at 0, and then you go do something, and then you decide if it matches your criteria, and if it does, then you add 1 to it. All right, so here we have 3 of a kind. We start to counter off at 0, and then down here, once we've decided if it is 3 of a kind, then we take 3 of a kind, and we add 1 to it. So we increment it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 1,000 of these. And we're going to shuffle the cards. We're going to calculate the number of the frequency of each denomination in that hand, and then we're going to decide if it's 3 of a kind or not. And if it is a 3 of a kind, then we're going to increment it. And then finally, we're going to come down here and we're going to calculate the numerical. So this is kind of our simulation. We take the sum of 3 of a kind and divide that by the length. And I don't think this actually needs to be sum. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. And divide that by the length, right? So, and then I have here is the analytical probability, which is the same as was in the PowerPoint that I gave you earlier. And then here I have the probability from Wikipedia. And then I'm going to print out the numerical probability, which I got from my experiment, and the analytical probability, which I could do either one, but if you look at these two, they'll be the same. All right. Now we've done that. Okay, so let's kind of step through here and see how this happens. Okay, so I'm going to step. I don't know if we've done the weight bar before, but if we haven't, you can look up to see how this is done. But these, anytime you have oh wait, I can't do that. Let me put that back where it was, and put this back where it was. Okay, so this is a weight bar, so anytime you do a long set of calculations, you might want to go get a cup of coffee while things executing, and while you're doing that, you can let the weight bar go. So we can kind of see how that works if I just hit continue. I'm probably going to have to slide this over here, so let me get the weight bar out. Oops, so there's my weight bar. Weight bar, weight bar, weight bar, weight bar, weight bar. Here's my weight bar. And, okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. I want to run this baby now. There you go. So that's kind of how the weight bar works. You can look it up online or in the help if you want to, but basically you have to set the weight bar up, and then you may not want to do it every time, but then you have to update the weight bar. So if I found a 3 of a kind, then I update the weight bar. And then you have to, when you get done, you have to close the weight bar. So this is, H is the weight bar, I believe. Yes, H is the weight bar. And so I close the weight bar when I'm done. All right, enough distractions. Let's get on with this. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is shuffle the cards. So I have my random numbers. I have deck 1, which is the combined, and deck 0, which is the denomination and the suit in 2 different columns. And I have my random number. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's do that again. Let's do a step. Okay, so there's the deck, and Let me look at the deck. Now I call this K deck because I want it to be a unique for this iteration, right? And then I'm going to sort it. And so when I sort the deck, now you can see it didn't change anything in the rows. It just took it found the lowest value in this column and put it up front. It took that entire row. And so we can go back here to KDEC. Let's look for a 4-1, right? So if we go to go down here, we'll find a 4-1. You see it's 0.707. So it took this row, 0.07, 41.4, and it put it in the first row because that's the smallest number. So now we have this. Now we have this deck. Now, so if I had 5 players, you know, I'd go around and I'd pass out the cards. But since the deck is random, I can just take off the first 5 cards, and that's going to be my deck. For this is my hand. So I had my deck, I shuffled it, and I dealt 5 cards. I just dealt them off the top, but that doesn't make any difference. And so you can see I'm looking for 3 of a kind here. So you can see I'm going to have I got a pair, but no 3 of a kind, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to sort this hand by the denomination. And so I'll do that. And so here are all the denominations that are in the hand, right? 4, 7, 12, 4, and 1. And here's, I want to initialize the count for all 13 denominations to 0. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to count them. So here you can see that now the denominations, apparently I had a 4 in there. And so I added that guy up. And so now let's go down here. We'll run it to here and see what we have. So so here's my hand. I had a 4, a 7, a 12, a 4, and a 1. So I had a 1, 2 4s, a 7, and a 12. And here I have a, let me open this up. So here I have a 1, 2 4s, a 7, and a 12. So now I've sorted my denomination. Now I'm going to do this sort rows again, and this time I'm going to sort these numbers in descending order. So I want to sort by column 1, and since I want them in descending order, I put a minus in front of there. So let's see what that looks like. And so you see I have a 2 of something. I no longer really know that it's a 4, a 1, and a 1, and a 1. Now, is this 3 of a kind? Well, no, it's not 3 of a kind. And how would I know if it was 3 of a kind? Well, I'd have to have a 3 in here. And if I had a 2 in this column, that would be a full house, so I don't want that. So I have to have a 3 here and a 1 here. So let's do this test. And so if the denomination sorted, the first element, which is going to be the most common denomination, is got to be a 3, and the second most common denomination, which is going to be in the second column, has got to be a 1. And so I'm going to so we should skip that. So we'll fail that test, right? Okay, we did. And now we're going to come down through here, and we're going to deal a new hand, and we're going to do the same thing. So let's continue down to here. So now we have 2 7s, an 8, a 9, and a 10. And when I sort those, you can see I got 2 1 1. So again, that one won't pass either, right? So let's step. So it does fail. Okay. So now let's run until we actually pass this test, right? So this is decide if this is a 3 of a kind. So this is my test. So I'm going to run down until I actually pass that test. So let's continue. Okay, there we go. And so I actually printed out the cards. So you got a 7, a 1, a 12, which I guess would be a queen, and a 7. So this is 3 7s. So let's look at the denominations. Let's look at this one. So here's how I counted them. So I got 3 sevens, I got an ace, and I got a queen, right? And then if I sort them, so I got a 3, a 1, and a 1. So this one's 3 of a kind, so that's cool. And this one's a 1, so it's not a full house. And so this one does indeed pass the test. And so what I do is I take 3 of a kind, which was 0 when I came in here, and I added 1 to it. So now I got, and then I printed out the cards, and I'm going to increment the weight bar. Let me find my weight bar here. Okay, there you go. So now you can see the weight bar. Okay, and so let's do that one more time. Okay, so here we have 7, 9, 7, 4, 7. How about that? We got 3 sevens again. Let's do it again. Here we have 3 fours, right? So there's a jack, a 4, a 4, a 3, and a 4. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the rest of this now. Okay, so you can see down here I got a bunch of them, right? All different types. The next thing I'm going to do is close the weight bar, so you probably can't see it. Well, yeah, you can see it. So you can see there's the weight bar. So when I do the close, now the weight bar is gone. And now I'm going to take the, so I don't really need this. I'm going to get rid of that guy right there. Because that's just a number. I'm not sure why I had that on there. Okay, so now there's the probability. So the probability is, so I had 24 out of 1,000. And there's the probability. This is from my experiment. This is my Monte Carlo simulation. And now if I step down one more here, I'm going to calculate the actual probability based on my calculation. So let's print that out here. Okay. And now I'm going to print out I'm going to calculate the Wikipedia calculation. So it tells me that there's 54,912 out of a total number of hands, which is total number of hands is 2.6 million roughly. And so here's what Wikipedia says it is. And so you can see I got the exact same number. And now I just want to print. And so I got a probability of 0.024 when I did it. And the actual probability is 0.021. And so that's, that difference then is the difference between an actual experiment. If I do it 1,000 times, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. And this time I was a little luckier. I got 3 of a kind, a little more than I got than the analytical probability would tell me. So that's that. So let's do it another time here. Okay. And so here you see I got actually 1.6% instead of 2.1%. So this one I didn't do quite so good. I run it again. There I got almost exactly the same right probability. Here I got pretty close again. Here I got a little high. So you get some are a little high, some are a little low. And then if you want to, you can come up here and you can change this to 10,000 and run it. So you can see it takes a little bit longer to go. And I got a 2.16 and a 2.11. So there you go. Now I'm going to ask you to do the flush for homework. And so when you do the flush, you'll have to change all of this. I'm going to give you this code. You can play with it. So you're going to have to look for a flush. And so here, instead of sorting by the denomination, you're going to have to pull out the suit. Okay. And so you could call it suit is equal to, but instead of column 3, it's going to be column 4. Okay, and so there they are. And then you won't have to count up. You won't have to check all 13 possibilities. You'll just have to check out 4 possibilities. And how do you know if it's a flush? Well, if it's a flush, then this count when you order these, right, is going to be you're going to have 5 0 0 0 0. So that's how you know it's a flush. And then when you come down here, you'll have to calculate what this probability is. You can check it with Wikipedia, and then you'll have to figure out what this number is going to be. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but hopefully you can figure it out. That'll be your homework. All right? Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Let you get to work dealing some cards.